I'm Owen Bigland. This is the Inside Edge video blog. Okay, let's do a case study here. I'll give you guys kind of some real life examples here of what things have been selling at recently. Way off from their highs back, 4, 5, 6 years ago. Even in some cases, I'm seeing condos selling now below what these sellers paid for it or these owners paid for it 10 years ago, depending on the strata. Because a lot of it, remember, I've done lots of blogs on the kind of the grade A, B, and C condo purchases. Some will appreciate and hold their value far better than others, as you guys know. Go back in my archives and I've gone through that many times. How when I'm working with buyers, I'm looking at the A-list stuff. And a lot of times, sometimes you might even be in bidding wars on these, but they're seldom really in any type of a strong seller's market. They're usually either balanced or favoring the seller, but they're worth it because they hold their value a lot better. But I'll give you some of the prices just currently going on there right now. I think we're getting pretty close, guys, to a point. I know everyone's going to say Bigland, he's a typical realtor, always a good time to buy, always a good time to sell. I've heard it all before. But, at the price per square foot, you're able to buy some downtown concrete condos now, and what these can rent for. Pretty good buying opportunity. Now, you never know if there's more room to go on these, of course, but keep in mind, you're never going to time a bottom. And I think we're probably getting pretty close with a couple of examples I'm going to give you here. But hey, maybe later this summer and into the fall, depending on how our trade war goes with the United States and the economy, we're in a recession and all that stuff. Sentiment drives the market. We could go down another 2 or 3% more on these condos. Who knows? But chances are you're never going to really time a bottom. If you're a real investor or you're buying it to live in and hold it for 10, 15, 20 years or longer, you're going to do fantastic at these current prices. But I'll give you a prime example here. I've talked about this one kind of in passing just a little bit before. This is this Anchor Point on Hornby Street. It's a huge strata. And back about 6, 7, 8 years ago, there was a lot of redevelopment potential. I did a few blogs on it. It's a huge strata. 3 individual stratas. It's something over 600 units. Trying to get that many owners on board to sell a strata it's not impossible, but very difficult. But I'll just give you a quick example here. This unit was bought back in 2017. It's a small 1-bed, just under 500 square feet, no parking. Back in 2017, this sold for $525, 10 days on market. Pretty peak price for sure in 2017. Move forward to today, this unit just sold a few weeks ago for $356,000. $356,000. Huge loss for that seller. Held it for 10 years almost and lost with commissions and everything else probably a cool $140,000, $150,000 with commissions and property transfer tax when he bought it and everything else. So that's a pretty good loss on a very small little 1-bed. You see, a few things have changed. There's not a lot of redevelopment talk with Anchor Point right now. Now, eventually it'll come back around. These things go in cycles. But for right now, that cycle is gone. Maybe 10 years from now, that might start to percolate up again. But for now, it's off the table. And thus the prices are reflective of that. There was another one here that sold a couple of months ago. Same strata, different address. I think there's 4 addresses in this Anchor Point. This one sold for $330,000 and it was 543 square feet for $330,000. Now these units are renting for, this one that's a 530 square foot unit, probably rent for $2,100, $2,200. Rents are off. They were getting more than that a few years ago, but if you put 10% down on these units, do the math. Your maintenance fees on this unit were $460 a month, $381 on the smaller one. With 10% down, to hold a mortgage on this, pay your property taxes and maintenance fees aren't going to be much more than what it's going to cost you to rent one of these units. So it's getting up there, guys. I think, we might pretty good windows here on some of these. I know I'll get some complainers on my blog here saying, oh, it's still got a long way to go and prices are still sliding. Why buy? Why step in front of a moving train, freight train? Maybe you're right. I'm just throwing the ideas out there. Give you another one in Richmond right now. I gave you guys a story. I told you I've been kind of slowly selling off my older wood frame stuff in Richmond. It has nothing to do with the market or where the market is going. As a matter of fact, the only reason I'm selling them is I'm now in my 60s and I'm getting ready to semi-retire here and fully retire in the next couple of years, and I want to just lighten my load and downsize, travel a lot more and that kind of thing. But you can buy, I just sold one in November for $385. It was a one bed, renoed about 10 years ago, parking, very good older, well-run strata, walking distance to SkyTrain in central Richmond. Well, I'm looking now, these same units as mine, actually on a higher floor. Mine was on the first floor or second floor. Some of these are on the third and fourth floor. These are now down to $335, $345 asking price. So there's some room to negotiate there. Geez, these units, guys, were selling 3 years ago. These units were selling in the low 400s, 410, 415, 420. Now you can pick these up for $320, 25% from where they were selling 3 years ago. These two will rent for about $2,000 a month. So if you're an end user, with 10% down, do the math on it. Your holding costs to hold the mortgage and own are not going to be very much more than what it would cost to rent these units. Right about the same, pretty much. So we're getting to a point here where there's some pretty good value out there. And if you're a buyer, if you're an end user and you're qualified, get a good realtor, shop around, throw out some offers, some pretty good opportunities. This is the type of thing that, let's say you can buy one of these wood frames in a good strata, because I know the strata I own in there, and I still have one in this strata for $325K that we're selling for $420. These are one of those opportunities that you'll look back on this 10 years ago and what Bigland was telling you here, save the video, and these units will be back up into the upper fours again, or even touching 5, because we are going to get what I call that coiled spring effect, guys, here. You guys know how I get these in my mailbox. I get, probably in a good month, I get 5 or 6 of these every month. For all the properties I own downtown, they send out these. If you own within a 5 or 6 block radius of this redevelopment, they send all homeowners in that area these things, these notices. All I get, as I told you guys, for the most part, for the last 5 years, is rental buildings or social housing redevelopment. They're not building strata anymore. They did have a lot of these, were zoned back 5, 6, 7 years ago, and some of them even tried to pre-sale as strata. They didn't move forward with it, couldn't get enough sales, so they've reconfigured it now to be rental buildings or social housing buildings. So, this one, typical one, this one I think was always zoned for rental, but it's going to be another 215 rentals and 90 of those being below market rental. So this is what the city's building. This is what the province is building. It's going to be building a rental utopia. Going to make it a lot easier for you to rent a place at market rent for the most part, or you might be able to qualify below market rent. I don't know. But you see, guys, it's coming at a cost of building strata, which is what you want to be if you want to live in this city for any length of time. If you can commit to Vancouver for 8 to 10 years or more, you should be an owner. If you're only going to stay for a few years, just stay renting for sure. Owning is a commitment, and again, 10 years or more is what you want to be able to commit to if you're going to buy a home. But that's what's going to happen here. Eventually we're going to, market sentiment is going to change. Economy will pick up again down the road here. We'll get our trade war settled, and immigration and people will start coming back in. We haven't built anything here new in downtown for a number of years, and nothing coming online for at least another 6, 7 years. Even if we turn the spigot on tomorrow and start building again, it's 7 or 8 years before that's built and ready to move in. We're going to have a shortage here, guys. And that's when the prices will start lifting off again. So when you can buy something downtown now here for, you can buy now 800 a square foot, 900 a square foot. You can buy out in Richmond for 500 a square foot. Those prices are going to look pretty good in 10 years. But again, I'm not saying the bottom is in, might still have a little bit more to go. If you want to stay on the sidelines, wait, no problem. I'm totally fine with that. But you're seeing right now some of the prices that these are going at. Sellers are taking some pretty big losses on these even after owning them for 8-9 years. And do the calculation on rent versus owning right now. With 10% down on some of these older wood frames, your holding costs are about the same as what it is for rent. I'm Owen Bigland. As always, thanks for watching. Thanks to all my new subscribers. I'll see you guys next week.